The city of Zootopia shimmered under the warm glow of the morning sun, its skyline alive with moving trains, zooming air taxis, and the chatter of animals rushing to work. Nick Wilde leaned lazily against a hot dog stand, pretending to read the newspaper, though his sharp eyes scanned the street. Judy Hopps strode toward him, ears perked, tail flicking with determination. "Nick," she said, her voice brisk, "we've got something big today." Nick folded the paper and smirked. "You always say that. Carrots? What is it this time, missing donut? Stolen ice cream?" Judy rolled her eyes and handed him a small, sleek device. "This was found in Tundra Town last night. No ID, no prints, but it's tech we've never seen before." Nick turned the device over in his paws, the metal surface gleaming in the sunlight. "Looks fancy and illegal." They walked together toward the ZPD headquarters, weaving through bustling streets. A polar bear in a business suit rushed past, nearly knocking over a chipmunk carrying coffee. Inside the station, Chief Bogo was already waiting for them. His broad shoulders and deep frown made the room feel smaller. "Hopps Wilde," Bogo said, sliding a folder across the table. "This device? Not from Zootopia. We think it's from somewhere else." Nick raised an eyebrow. "Somewhere else? What?" Like Bunny Barrow, Bogo didn't smile. "Like another city. One that shouldn't exist." Judy's ears twitched. "You're saying there's a hidden city," Bogo nodded slowly. "And if our intel is right, they're planning to infiltrate Zootopia." The air between them grew tense. Nick leaned back in his chair, whistling low. "So, carrots?" Nick said softly. "We're chasing ghosts now." Judy shook her head. "No, we're chasing the truth." They were given a file full of grainy photo silhouettes in mist, strange glowing shapes in the distance. One picture showed a tall figure with glowing blue eyes. Nick frowned at it longer than he meant to. "Creepy," he muttered. Their assignment was clear: follow the trail, find the hidden city, and uncover the truth about this mysterious tech. But no one at the ZPD knew how dangerous it would get. That evening, they boarded the Skyrail to the outskirts of Tundra. Frost clung to the windows as the train hummed through icy tunnels. Judy clutched the device tightly. Nick noticed her grip and chuckled. "Nervous, carrots?" "Focused," she replied. The train screeched to a stop. They stepped out into the frozen streets, their breath forming white clouds in the air. Snow fell softly around them, muffling the sound of their post. Somewhere in the distance, machinery hummed. Following the sound, they found an abandoned warehouse. Its walls were covered in strange markings, glowing faintly in the dark. Nick touched one of the glowing lines. It pulsed under his paw. "Okay," he whispered. "That's not normal." The door creaked open on its own, revealing rows of machines they'd never seen before. The air was warm inside, smelling faintly of ozone. Judy's eyes widened as she stepped closer to a large monitor. It lit up suddenly, displaying a map not of Zootopia, but of something much larger. Nick whistled again. "Carrots, that's no city, that's a whole world." Suddenly, a loud clang echoed through the warehouse. They turned to see a tall shadow step into the light. The figure wore a mask that covered their entire face, glowing blue eyes piercing through. "You shouldn't be here," the voice said, cold and metallic. Nick stepped in front of Judy. "Yeah, we get that a lot." Before they could react, the figure tapped their wrist, and the floor beneath them began to shift. Panels slid away, revealing a glowing tunnel leading deep underground. Judy's heart pounded. Nick looked at her with a half smile. "You thinking what I'm thinking? Carrots." "Always," she said. And together, they jumped into the tunnel. Nick leaned against the lamppost, his green shirt swaying slightly in the breeze. He glanced at Judy, who stood beside him with her ears perked up. Nick smirked. "You know, Judy, this city never sleeps, but neither do our problems." Judy tapped her foot. "Nick, you're always so dramatic. We just need to follow the lead." Nick tilted his head. "The lead is cold. Judy, too cold." Judy pulled out her small notebook. "Then we warm it up, Nick. We start by questioning the shopkeeper." Nick sighed. "Fine. But you're doing the talking, Judy." The two walked down the dimly lit street. Nick kept his hands in his pockets, while Judy stayed alert. A shadow moved in the alley. Nick froze. "Judy, did you see that?" Judy nodded. "Yes, Nick, and I think it's following us." Nick leaned closer. "Stay behind me, Judy." They approached the corner slowly. Nick peeked around. Judy waited, her whiskers twitching. A stray cat bolted past them. Nick chuckled. "False alarm. Judy, the rabbit." Judy frowned. "Still, Nick, we need to stay careful." Nick and Judy reached the shop. The old sign creaked above their heads. Nick pushed open the door. After you, Judy. Judy stepped inside cautiously. Nick followed, scanning the room. The shopkeeper looked up. Nick gave a sly smile. Judy T held up her badge. We're here about last night, Judy said. Nick leaned on the counter. The shopkeeper hesitated. Nick noticed the sweat on his brow. Judy noticed the trembling hands. Nick whispered, "He's hiding something." Judy nodded. "I see it too, Nick." They pressed for answers. Nick asked about the break-in. Judy asked about the missing crate. The shopkeeper denied everything. Nick didn't believe him. Judy didn't either. Nick glanced at the back door. Judy caught his eye. Without a word, Nick walked toward it. Judy followed inside. The air smelled of damp wood. Nick stepped over a loose board. Judy spotted muddy footprints. Nick knelt down. "These are fresh." Judy wrote it down. Then someone was just here. Nick, and Judy moved deeper inside. Nick and Judy stood in the middle of the dimly lit street, the soft glow of the street lamp casting long shadows behind them. A gentle night breeze rustled the leaves overhead, making a whispering sound that almost felt like the city itself was holding its breath. Judy's ears twitched, catching every faint rustle in the distance. She glanced at Nick, her face serious but relaxed. "Do you hear that?" she asked softly. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but the quietness made it carry in the still night air. Nick tilted his head, letting his keen fox ears pick up the faint, irregular sound. "Yeah?" he said after a moment, his eyes narrowing. "It's something metallic, maybe a can rolling. Or maybe..." He trailed off, his voice fading as he glanced toward the shadowy alley to their left. Judy took a cautious step forward. Her footfalls were almost silent on the pavement, but in the stillness, they felt loud. Nick followed, his hands casually in his pockets, but his eyes scanning every dark corner with calculated sharpness. They stopped at the edge of the alley. It was narrow, with the smell of damp bricks and the faint scent of garbage lingering in the air. Somewhere deeper inside, something shifted, a soft clink of metal, followed by silence. Judy's paw moved to her utility belt, fingers brushing over her flashlight. Nick raised an eyebrow and smirked faintly. "Going in blind? Bold move. Carrots." Judy shot him a look, but there was a small smile tugging at her lips. "Better than standing here waiting for trouble to come to us." With a quiet click, the flashlight's beam cut through the shadows. Dust particles floated lazily in the cone of light, disturbed only by the gentle wind funneling through the alley. They moved in slowly, step by step. The walls felt close, the darkness pressing in just outside the reach of the light. Judy kept her focus ahead, while Nick's eyes darted between shadows, looking for movement. A faint glimmer appeared at the far end, something shiny, catching the light for just a split second. Judy paused, holding up her paw to stop Nick. "You saw that too, right?" Nick nodded. "Yep, and I'm guessing it's not just a loose piece of trash." They edged closer. The sound of their own breathing filled their ears, each inhale and exhale sounding louder with every step. The glimmer came again, this time a little clearer, almost like the reflection off a pair of eyes. Then movement. Something darted deeper into the alley. Not fast enough to be invisible, but quick enough to send their instincts into high alert. Judy whispered, "On 3. Nick gave a small nod. 1, a tense pause. 2, the air felt heavier. 3, they sprinted forward together, Judy's flashlight beam bouncing wildly off the walls as their footsteps pounded the concrete. The shadow ahead tried to escape, but the alley turned into a dead end. The figure froze. It was small, half hidden under a ragged hoodie, breathing fast and shallow. Judy kept her voice steady. "ZPD, step into the light." The figure hesitated, then slowly shuffled forward, the light revealing the nervous face of a young raccoon. His eyes darted between them, and his tail flicked anxiously behind him. Nick stepped closer, his tone calm but firm. "All right, kid, want to tell us why you're sneaking around at night with half the city asleep?" The raccoon swallowed hard, clutching something in his paws. Judy noticed it and took a careful step forward. "What's that you've got there?" He glanced down, then reluctantly held it out. It was a small dented metal case covered in scratches, with a faint symbol carved into the lid. Judy and Nick exchanged a look. They didn't recognize the symbol, but it was clear this wasn't just ordinary trash. The raccoon's voice trembled. I found it. I swear. I wasn't stealing it, I didn't know where else to go." Nick tilted his head. "And why exactly does something like this make you hide in a dark alley instead of taking it to the cops right away?" The raccoon's eyes darted to the shadows behind them, like he was expecting someone or something to follow. They were after me," he said in a whisper. "If they find me, they'll take it back. And I think I think they'll hurt me. Judy's ears stood straight. Who's they? Before he could answer, a faint sound came from the street behind them. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to send the raccoon flinching. Nick and Judy turned toward the alley entrance, their senses sharpening instantly. A silhouette appeared tall still, watching, and then it stepped back into the darkness.